So I originally built this as a pole barn, and before I got it all finished, I decided to frame it so I could insulate it and make it like a house. And now I'm doing the inside. I've ordered garage doors, all my lights, everything else. But, just so if you've never known or you're watching this and you're someone interested in doing this, if you do the pole barn style, you've got this huge gap between your poles. So like there and there, you got a real big gap. So you can't insulate it. So went back, put all the studs and, put the windows and everything and made it where it's basically going to be like a house. Now, one of the other things, I cut all this lumber for free on my sawmill, but I was going to show you guys. But I did the metal 4 foot up. That way I could wash a vehicle in here and not worry about if it sprayed over on the walls or anything, it wouldn't go down on the bottom, or at least for the first 4 foot, like 1 inch, and then put a drain in the middle of the floor when we built it and it goes out the back. Now, another thing I did is we built this whole thing and then I needed a longer bay. So we knocked this back wall out back here and put this piece in it. But I've made this where it's completely drive through. And another thing, we made 12 by 12 doors. So the reason I wanted 12 by 12 was so I could get just about any RV in it. I could get a boat in it, just about any tractor, anything I needed to work on it. I could have it that, big to pull it in and out. So there's a lot of things to think about when you're doing this. But another thing I was going to say is I'm cheap on a lot of things and I like to tinker. So one of the things that I've done, and I'll show you guys, is I've been cutting these little blocks here. So I've brought home all this lumber and run it through my planer so the face is very smooth on these. And what I'm doing is I'm putting it on these walls over here. And as you can see, I didn't tongue and groove it all because I don't have a molder. So basically what I've done is I make one side slanted like this. Let me show you from this end. Like this, slanted like this down through there. And then the other will sit right up to it, and I can nail the faceplate to it, and that way it all sits flush. As you can see right here, I've got this piece ready to go. See how it all so each little groove sets into itself. And I'm not trying to get super fancy with this part, but I tell you what, I've been using this table saw to rip these sides on this. And this thing has whooped me so bad because it's been such a pain in the tail to run these boards through this thing. Now, I'll show you, I had this on here, and I've probably used this for a pretty good while. So I'm not saying that this is bad, but I wanted to see how a 40 or a 60 in this Dewalt set here does in comparison. But I'm going to put one of them on in the 60 tooth first. So I've got a 60 to 60 to kind of see. And then I may swap to the 40 to rip even quicker. But we'll see how these do. But anyway, when I get more of this done, I'll show you guys. But I just wanted you to see. Now, what I'm doing is on each end of my building. So I'm doing wood from 4 foot up. So I'm going to have this white, then this wood, and then I'm going to stain this wood. And I've cut my boxes to go in here. Now, I couldn't put the bottom nail in, but your faceplate, as you can see, sits right there on the lip of that. So I didn't really worry about it. I can see the faceplate in there. And then my wiring's here. But I'm taking and so instead of doing J-channel, I wanted the wood to kind of blend in together and all of it go, sequenced. So I've put this wood down in each corner. So I've got a runner in my corner. So it'll be wood up and then a wood bar down, and it kind of ties it in together. And then on this side, I'm going to do wood on the facing in between each of these, kind of like this is, but I don't think I'm gonna do the metal on the bottom because my switches would be really high up then and be awkward. I'll see when I get there. But anyway, it's a mess right now, and just want to give you guys, show you what I was doing, and might interest some of you, might not. But I've had this table saw and this chop saw. This chop saw, this Bosch one, is just phenomenal. But I bought one of them Dewalt blades with it to see how it compared to this Diablo one, which has worked extremely well so far, even cutting hickory and oak that's, 1.25 inches or 2 inches thick. I mean, it just cuts right through it. So I run all this through the planer, and then after it comes out, of course, it's really, really smooth and looks like flooring. And then, like I said, your edges are messed up, but when I run it through that table saw, which I'll show you, you can slide them in together. So you can see here what I'm doing as I go along. I'm basically V-notching all of this, then V-notching the end, and then I go to the window frame, notch out, come down, notch out again, here and here, and then you won't see this because when it goes up, in between there, it'll basically just click all the way up, so all this will be grooved together, and you don't have to have a router bit or anything to do all that. So you can see there as it goes. I haven't nailed any of this up just to make sure I had my angles right, because as soon as you go and nail it up, it's super hard to get off. But everything's going pretty smooth. It is a long process to get around everything, but once you get on a straightaway, you can go really, really quick. But just an easy way to groove stuff, and I'll show you some more once we get it on down. So you can see here what I'm doing. I've cut all the way to the end here, flush with this, and then I've got this V grooved, and then I've done this the same way, so this side's ready to catch the next one. You can see it's angled, and this one's here. And so you pick it up, you set it right in there. And you can see how it just notches, basically sets in there with it flush. I mean, you could do flooring like that, make floors if you wanted to. I'm gonna go over this with a stain after I get it all on there. I gotta let it dry for a while so the moisture still, make sure the rest of it's out of it out. And then I'm gonna put a stain to make all this kind of flow together. You can kind of see it coming along now as I go. I've got these windows just about all trimmed out. And I'll go all the way up with it. I'm gonna show you this view. It's a mess right now because I've got everything out of the shop, but when you go back here, there's always deer back here. Pretty big bucks come through here at times. So you can kind of see how it's gonna look now. And like I said, this is all different types of species. This is basically pallet lumber, but I wanted it as rough looking as possible. Like you can see some of the caveats here and here. And if I've got a company that's sending me out a heat sent, to see where heat and stuff is dissipating. If I've got to fill these in, somewhat, I can still do that. But this to me is just like a really cool look because you can see all the distress in it and everything. And I've just put one coat on so far of stain, and I put it on pretty heavy just so that I could kind of see. I mean, you can see how light colored that poplar was before it started, and then now it's like this. But when you put that coating on there, it kind of blends together. And another thing, I went and bought one of these Hercules dust extractors. I've got a big dust extractor that's like a, on a big fan wheel, but it doesn't hook up to this as well as one of these. And I'm going to see how this does on this because it auto starts. But I just want to show you guys how it's coming along so you can kind of get an idea. And a lot of people that seen this really liked it. Like I said, it's easy to do. And you can probably go to your local sawmill company and pick up, you know, some of this lumber like this for, you know, 65 cents and below, maybe 70 cents and below. Of course, like I said, I run mine through the planer so the top's slick. And then I've started notching the sides, like I said, where it drops down in itself. It's fairly simple to do. It's just time consuming. But you guys can let me know your thoughts, but I think this is going to look really cool when it's done. But you'll see in the progress of the video as we go. And then I've got a mini split that's going to go here in between the windows. This is a 31 by 41 shop. It's like 40 by 30 on the inside. What size mini split do you guys think it'll take to do this shop? My doors are 12 by 12. It's about 1,300 to 1,300 and maybe 1,400 square feet with this room and this here. But everybody says with the really tall ceilings, the ceilings are a little bit over 14 foot, that it takes a pretty heavy one to do it. Let's see what this thing's about. I've seen people raving over this for the amount that it costs in comparison to other ones. And they say they love it. Let me get it out of here and we'll show you. So it looks like it comes fully assembled. That's sweet because I absolutely hate assembling stuff. And I'm gonna put it on corded, which this basically, when it feels power go from this to that, when you pull the trigger, it'll automatically kick on and off. And you've got automatic recirculation. You've got your receptacle here that you'll plug your, you know, tool into, and then this plugs into the actual power cord, and that thing's got a really nice 14 gauge power cord on it. So you're not going to have voltage drop from the actual cord to this. Some of these, you know, have littler cords. So far it seems nice. I'm not going to get in the nitty gritty yet, but I'll let you know how it goes later on. But the thing with this is, like, I've had this bag on here forever, and when I've got it in my other garage, I always had it hooked to that with this hook to it. But that's just so bulky. I like to keep that on one item so I can kind of move this anywhere I want to go and keep it kind of flowing. But this will give me the ability to hook it to anything and not have to worry about dust, hopefully. This miter saw here, I just took duct tape and put on. This is supposed to be the best one in the industry, but it's the only one that I've ever used. I bought it like, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago, and I've run a ton of material through it. But I put duct tape on here because it wanted to sling everything past it, and this lets it flex when it goes down, plus it lets it shoot up in there a lot better. But we'll see how it does when it connects to this. I think it'll do a whole lot better. So when you open the lid, it's got your bag in here. If you're doing fine dust, you're gonna wanna put this bag on here. It just slides over the nose there like that, and it'll blow into this, and then you'll put your top back on. The one thing I wanted to see was, does this connector go into that? And that sucker fits like a dream. I mean, I don't think you could get one any snugger than what that is, and then your other piece will connect right to that. So this is gonna be handy. So here's the moment of truth. I've got it on the little automatic thing. The fat end, that's weird. It's like that switch is backwards. See, the skinny end's down here, and this is up here. But I think there's a little line there with an arrow. It's just upside down. You could probably pull it off and swap it, but I should be able to pull this trigger. Well, I've got to hook the vacuum up, but it still should kick on. There it goes. That should keep all the fine dust out of everything. We'll see. I was going to show you guys another thing. I got these outlets. I'll link them in the bio, but they have 30-watt fast chargers inside them in your USBs so you can plug all your stuff in and not have to worry about having a puck. But I was going to show you guys, just like in the other video. What you done, little man? You want to go look at the Nintendo Switch? He wants a Switch too real bad. What are you going to do on there? Yeah, she could play your old one. But this company sent this out. And like I was saying, we're going to give it... Well, Willow or one of them's left me a juice box in here and one free haircut. But this is from Dynavox. And if you guys are wanting this, you have to watch the videos to see how to win it. But I've got this full delete kit, which is a full exhaust that goes on your vehicle, plus the EGR block-off plates and everything that you need besides a tune. They say this fits a 23 and up, or 23 from I think it's a 20. I'll post a picture of it, but I think it goes up to a 23, but I'm not sure that it'll fit a 23 and above. I think it's more of 2020 to 2022, and maybe the 17 to 19, but it's got all the hardware and everything that you need to put it on. So like I said, we're going to give this away. You do have to be a public subscriber, and there's going to be some other hints in the videos coming up of how to win this.